with the recent reopening of Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom in Florida. In this video, we're going to be talking about the top 5 things you need to consider if you're planning a trip to Walt Disney World, and also looking ahead to when Disneyland reopens if you're planning a trip to Disneyland in the near future. So let's get into all the things you need to consider. Hey there, I'm Eric D, and on this channel my hope is always to make your next Disney adventure a little bit more magical, with tips and tricks, food reviews, and vlogs. So if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel, because I always have new things coming out all the time, and lately there's been a lot of news, and this is going to be one of those videos where we're talking about some of the things you need to consider, because as of July 11th, Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom reopened at Walt Disney World, and on July 15th, Hollywood Studios and Epcot will be reopening. Over the past few weeks, we've been sharing a lot of news coming out of the parks as they've been preparing to reopen. And now, as those plans and news have become reality, we wanted to talk about what that means for you and your next trip. Because certainly under the current conditions, your trip won't be like your typical Walt Disney World trip. Number 1. For me, the biggest thing to take into account is currently Florida is at an all-time high when it comes to cases for the pandemic. As of Sunday, July the 12th, Florida added over 15,000 positive cases to its already high numbers. So while I do believe when it comes to going out, Disney property would be safer than most grocery stores or most restaurants, for me, living in another state, I'm not going to be jumping on a plane to visit until the numbers have come way down. Once again, I think Disney is taking all the right precautions, and I know that there's no easy answer when it comes to getting people back to work. But for me, those numbers would be making me nervous if I was planning to visit anytime soon. Number 2, as we've talked about before, to get into the parks, you will need a reservation. The capacity for the parks have been dramatically reduced, and each park has a certain number of reservations available broken into 3 groups. Disney Resort guests, so those who have reservations on property who can make reservations for the length of their stay. Annual pass holders, who can book up to 3 days at a time. And standard theme park ticket guests, who can book for the length of their ticket. While there's still a lot of availability for those guests who are staying on Disney property and those who are buying standalone tickets, for annual pass holders, it's already filling up fast. July's already booked up, and most of the weekends in August are already all filled up. Number 3, arriving and checking into the park. As we've discussed before, all guests will have their temperature checked before entering into the park. Any guest who has a temperature over 100.4 degrees will get a chance to cool down in a tent and see if it was just the Florida sun making them hot. But then once they have their temperature checked again, if it's over 100.4, they will not be allowed to enter the park. Also, as we discussed in another video, they have updated the security process and bag check. At Animal Kingdom, they have the new system we talked about, where you can keep your bag on you and just walk through. And while they don't have that exact same system at Magic Kingdom yet, they do have a modified system where security guards aren't going through your bag. Number 4, masks, physical distancing, and sanitizing. As we have been telling you, masks are required for guests 2 and up, and cast members will be wearing masks and at times face shields. The only time guests can take off their mask is at designated food locations, and they do have a few relaxation stations throughout the park, where you can sit separated from other groups and take off your mask, which is helpful in the Florida heat and humidity. Throughout all the attractions and lines, they have markers to keep parties 6 feet apart, and they are not filling the attractions to capacity. And every 2 hours they are thoroughly sanitizing the attractions. So this can slow down the loading procedures because they'll cycle through the attraction vehicles without anyone in them. So all of these steps are very impressive and exactly what Disney should be doing. In areas of attractions or lines where guests would be close to each other, they've installed plexiglass barriers. They've also added additional hand sanitizing and hand washing stations throughout the park. Number 5, you need to take into account that there's not going to be any of the big spectaculars or big shows, and there's not going to be any close-up character meet and greets, but you can see the characters from afar. One of my favorite things about Disney parks is the fireworks spectaculars, the shows, all those different things, getting to see the characters, but that's not something you're going to be experiencing at this time. But they do have moments set up where you can get selfies with characters from a distance, and also where you can see small little kind of baby parades go by with characters that will just zip by at unannounced times, so you can see characters go by, but that way crowds aren't gathering to wait for the parade or watch the parade. It's just something quickly that will go by and then disappear quickly. So while I'm very impressed with all the steps Disney is taking to keep everyone safe in the parks, and I think guests are being good from what I've seen for the most part, It's not something I'm going to jump on a plane to fly over to Florida at this point to see. They have reopened ticket sales and hotel reservations for 2020, but like I said, at this point for me, planning a vacation is half the fun, and also those big shows and all those different things. But since they don't have everything right now, and I only get to go to Walt Disney World every so often, that's not something that I'm gonna head for. I can definitely understand if you were an annual pass holder or if you're in the Florida area already, making time to definitely see that. I wanted to quickly share a little bit of Disneyland news with you. Downtown Disney opened this past week. For the most part, it seems like things are going pretty well there. Because of the current status of California, not all the restaurants were able to open. Those with outdoor seating had the option to open, and many of the stores that were just selling merchandise are open. But as time goes on, we will see more of those restaurants open. We still, at the time of making this video, we do not know when Disneyland will reopen. Maybe we'll find out more on July 17th, which is Disneyland's birthday, or maybe in all truth, we'll just have to wait to see what California says, because they said after July 4th, they would release more guidelines. But currently, the numbers continue to climb in California also, so they might be holding off until the numbers start to decline until we can find out on that. On July 17th, I'm planning to share a special video for Disneyland's 65th birthday, so definitely come back and check that out. In the comments below, I would love to hear if you have been to Walt Disney World, what was your experience like? Are you planning to go anytime soon? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see y'all again real soon. Bye.